Head over to miniaturemarket.com. They have thousands of board games at discounted prices like Everdell Farshore. Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today we're going to be going out to the lighthouse, or maybe we're going to be going over to the ocean and the docks, and sometimes we'll be going off to islands to find different goods and to be able to put different critters and constructions in our area. Today we're taking a look at Everdell Farshore, which is not an expansion of Everdell. This is the next standalone game in it, completely on its own. Let me show you how it plays. I'll see you on the other side. Now each player is going to get some workers. This is just one of each of the four sort of colors that you could be in the game, or workers, but I just wanted to show you that there are these nice little wooden bits. Each player, you get a bunch of these, but here's one of each. Now here is the board, which kind of looks like a big sort of seashell, which is kind of cool. You've got the bay where there's some cards you can get, there's worker placement spots, there's resources. The game is played over multiple seasons. And at the end of each season, you're going to do some cleanup and you're going to get a new worker. So as the game goes on, you're going to be getting more and more actions to be able to do in future rounds or seasons. On your turn, most of the time, you're going to be placing a worker or playing a card. When you place a worker, you place it in an open spot. Now this one's blocked from everyone else. You're getting 2 mushrooms. These mushrooms are really nice. They're sort of like rubbery. And it comes with way more than this, but I've just put a few here to show you what they look like. And you know, here you get to get a card from the top of the deck, and you get to get one of those resources. Those are sea stones. Or you might go here to get seaweed. Again, this is sort of like rubbery. It's really cool. Or you go here to get wood. Each game, there's a certain amount of islands placed out, one for each of the players, but then anyone can go here. Only one person can go to each one of these. This is 2, any goods of your choice, and then 2 mushrooms and a card off the top into your hand. Now you start the game with a hand of cards, and again, instead of placing a worker, you could play a card. Now when you play a card, you can play it from your hand. Like this, I would play it from my hand. I'd pay the cost, 2 mushrooms. This is going to be worth a point at the end. This is a unique critter called the Herbalist, and it has an ongoing ability because that's the type of card this has. I gain a mushroom after every time I play a construction. Now instead of playing a card from your hand, you can play it from the bay. That's on the board. And when you play a card from the bay, you simply just take it, and it's open to anyone. I'd have to pay 1 wood, 1 seaweed, 1 sea stone, and this is a construction, a unique construction. And because it was a construction, I would now get a mushroom. And then some of these give you some other abilities, like I can discard up to 5 cards to both gain 1 seashell. This is a way of sometimes getting just straight points. These things are kind of cool. They're pearlescent looking, and you could draw 1 card for each. Now over the course of the game, you're going to be building 3 rows of 5, and you'll have 15 cards at max at the end of the game in your city. Now I've showed you 2 types of cards. Another one of the green ones. These are ones that activate right when you get them, so you'd pay 2 mushrooms, and you get to activate any green building in your city. So that's these. So if you already had this in the city and you did this, you could get this and gain a mushroom. Now also, at the end of some of the seasons, you're going to be able to activate these green buildings again, actually. So 2 of the 4 rounds at the end, you're going to be able to activate these as well. And certain cards also activate them like you see here. There's also end game cards, these flowers. This is going to be worth 4 points at the end. This costs 5 mushrooms, but here you're going to get 2 points for each unique construction in your city. And so if you remember, we had just built the hideout. That's a unique construction. And by the way, you can never have 2 of the same cards that are unique, but you can't have 2 commons of the same. So this is, if we got this would be sort of a strategy for us for the game. We're going to be focusing on trying to get unique constructions. Now these cards always cost a lot. 5 mushrooms, if you will. I want to show you one more new but important mechanism in this game. Let's say we have this type of card. And let's say I want to play this card. It's the same type, but I don't have 3 wood, 2 seaweed, or any treasures or anything else to help pay for it. Everyone starts with 3 anchors, and these are nice metal, sort of washed, chunky bits. Beautiful. You put it on a card of the type that you have that you want to play. I have this. I put this here. I can play this one for free. It's awesome, but you only get 3 of these the entire game, and you can no longer use one on here, but if I want to get another one of these, I can put it here. So it's a way to kind of speed things up, and it really keeps the game moving and never feels claustrophobic. Now, once you have enough of these, like 4 green cards, or 3 of these cards, or 3 of these, or 3 of these, or 2 of those, or 1 of each, you can send a worker here and claim one of these. Now, there's a certain amount of these depending on the players. They start at 2 points, and they go down to 1, and then they eventually go down to 0 if you're playing with a lot of players. But these are huge because if you get these, like if I got this one, it would say 2 points for every map tile. Right? And let's say later on someone else gets this, but then I get this one, and so on and so forth. Let's say at the end of the game, I end up with these. Okay, it's gonna be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 24 points. Really good. I think you can max out at 72 points with these. You can't let somebody run away with them. So it's kind of a race to get a certain amount of cards out of different types, and you gotta be watching other players. Here, you can go to the lookout. Any number of people can go here. You discard any number of cards and draw that many back from the deck or the bay. So you could take them from the top, or you could take them from here. Or you go to the docks, discard the 3 cards, and gain 1 wild good for each card. Now, I want to show you these Windrose tokens. These are usually out on the board, and these stay for the entire round. And this says unique, and then this type of card. So if this was out there that round, and I built a unique and this type of card, I would get to move my ship. And then, but at the end of the season, these are going to change to some other things, and there's always, each game's going to be different combinations. Now this is interesting because I will get to move 1 or 2 in this case because I had both the unique and that type. So if you have, so when you play a card, if you have one of those things, you move once. If it's both this exact type card, you move twice. Each of these towards the first beginning or half of the game, every time you move this, ends up being actually worth 2 more points at the end of the game. Plus you'll get these treasures. These treasures are cool because not only can you spend them for a wild good, but if you don't, they're worth 2 points at the end of the game. And so you're working your way up this track. But once you get about halfway through and you're at 40, now they're only 1 point each. So it's a little less advantageous towards the end, but it's definitely one you want to keep track of. Now, it might come to a time where you have no workers left and you can't play any cards you don't want to. You can sort of like take your action to take all your workers back, and you'll do the end of the season. Like you'll get another worker, and in this case, you'd activate all your green buildings, and whoever's the last player to do this will put those new Windrose tiles out. I told you they change every round. But in the second round, you're going to get another worker and 2 cards from the bay. Also, some of the islands will be removed. Those are those extra worker placement spots. And then the last season, you'll get to, again, activate the green buildings, take 2 cards from the deck of the bay, and so on and so forth. So that's pretty much how it's going to work. You will have pretty much 15 cards usually at the end, and you'll do your final scoring. You'll have many of these final scoring cards. You'll have these. You might have some shells. You might have some leftover treasures. And don't forget, you're always getting points for the cards in your city that you've built from all that. Whoever the most points at the end is the winner. All right, now before I get to my final thoughts, I want to let you know that if you like my content, there's now ways to get bonus content like first impression videos well before a review will come out, or for many games I don't even end up reviewing. You can even vote for which games get reviewed on the channel. You can also see me opening up packages and getting content earlier than everyone else. And now you can see what you're missing with a free 7-day trial at patreon.com/GameBoyGeek. So I want to preface this by saying Everdell is one of the most popular games in board gaming history. I mean, people love this game, and for good reason. It's beautiful. It's got some interesting card play, some synergies, resource management, worker placement, It's got all the trappings of a good game, right? And not really trappings, but all the good aspects of a good game. This game is hugely popular, and I have never been overly enthused with Everdell. I liked it. It's a solid game. It's beautiful. The beauty of it brings me back more than I normally would. Not to say it's a bad game, not to say I had any specific issues with the game. It just, I thought it was good. A solid 7. And it's pretty much the game that's really made a lot of these other games come out with these animals in it because it was just so popular and so well done. So now going to that, those are my sort of biases coming into this, which is the next sort of the sequel or the next standalone game in Everdell. So first of all, as usual with this, amazing art and production. Again, the game looks so beautiful. The little bits, they're kind of like rubbery, like the mushrooms and the, but then you get the wood pieces for like the wood, for example, those rubber pieces for the seaweed and things like that. Now you do have the lighthouse, which again, much like in the original Everdell, there was this huge tree you put together, you put all the workers on there. It didn't do anything but hold the workers, but it did really add to the table presence. Same with the lighthouse, it doesn't do anything. I could take it or leave it. It is a lot faster to put together than the tree was, but it doesn't really hold all the workers. Like it has 2 little platforms. And if you're playing with 4 players, no way you're putting everyone's extra workers on there. So it does look nice. I like having it there, but it doesn't do anything. So if you liked the tree or did not like the tree, you'd probably feel the same about the lighthouse. Now, this is a sequel to Everdell that, in my opinion, is a better game. It seems like they've had a long time to think about Everdell and have a lot of feedback from players. And I think the things that they have done to change this, because in a whole, it shares the same DNA as the original Everdell, but they've done some things to make it better and streamline it. For example, the anchor system. So now you're no longer waiting for a specific mate card. It was one of the problems I had with Everdells. You get this cool card, and you're like, oh great, if you match it with this one, you get this. But the deck was so big, a lot of times you never saw that card, right? Sometimes, or maybe it was way too long. This anchor system's great. You play a card of a certain type, you have 3 of them throughout the game, you play it there, you can immediately play a card for free of that type, right? It's awesome because you don't have to worry about the resources, but you only get 3 of them. And by the way, those metal anchors are awesome, nice and chunky and heavy. Anchor system just makes this game so streamlined, makes things move faster, but you gotta find the right 3 times in the game to use it. It is fantastic. It really, again, makes the game a lot better than Everdell original. The duplicate cards that come out. So if a card comes out that's a duplicate of another one, it stacks, so it doesn't hog a spot. So you're always looking at 8 unique cards there in the bay there. I like that. The Windrose tiles. So sometimes you're gonna need like a green critter or a green construction or a unique whatever. And depending, those pairs are gonna be changing each game and each round. And so it changes when you might want to play things because you're gonna be able to move up that ship track. And this ship track is awesome. I love this thing that you move up, and for about half of the way to the board, you're getting 2 points every time you move up this at the end of the game. Then about all the way halfway through, it goes to 1 point. So there's like an arc there. I like that. I like that as you move down the ship track, you can get these treasures, and those treasures can be used for wild resource or 2 points at the end. Again, interesting. I just love the way it works. Everything here just flows so much, for me, more smoothly than Everdell. I like that the tiles that you get for the end game scoring, I like that you're sort of racing for those, and these could be huge points because you're looking at what everyone's doing. You're like, oh, you know what? I have 4 of these. No one else has 4. I've got to remember I got to have a worker as soon as someone's going to get their 4th because I need to go get it before they get it, right? So you can kind of sometimes you're racing for those, but sometimes you get closer at it, and then you're reprioritizing when do you really need to go to get that. You really have these other things you want to do. I can wait another turn maybe because no one else quite has 4 yet, but I need to have a worker. Like, again, great. I love the sort of multiplying of the tiles of how they score. That works well too. It's a little bit of race. I love that you can play cards from your hand or the bay. It's fantastic. It's like, hey, I've got all these cards in my hand that are sort of reserved. Only I can play them. But hey, something came out there that I really want. I better go get it because that's open to everybody. I like the tension that brings. This essentially is a smooth worker placement and combo builder. Also, I don't typically play games solo, but I had a chance to play this solo and I thought it worked well. It feels like you're playing against a second player. Feels like they're blocking spots, they're playing cards, they're getting map tiles without a lot of upkeep. Once you understand how they work and in what order they take cards and things like that, it moves really fast. Not a lot of upkeep. They're not spending resources or anything like that or gaining resources. But the points at the end are also a lot easier. They're just straight certain points. You don't actually go for all the points of the cards. It worked well. If you like solo games, I think this one worked well. On the negative side of things, earlier I mentioned the lighthouse. I like it. It brings the table presence, but not really big enough to hold all the workers. I wish they would have had a little bit more of those sort of plateaus that you could have put some workers on, but I don't know. Maybe most people didn't put them on the tree anyways. Who knows? 4 players, I think this game is not a great player count. It still drags on, for me, too long for what this game's depth is. I think it's best with 2 or 3 players. 4 is just too much downtime for me. And also a little bit less, hey, someone gets a card, it's harder to plan for your turn sometimes because too many things happen before your next turn. A little more chaotic. So for me, I really liked this. I like it better than the original Everdell. I don't typically give rankings, but the original Everdell was a 7 for me. This is an 8. It's a solid game. I think they have improved on a system. The big question is, do you need it? I think if you've never played Everdell, you've been thinking about getting it, sure, Everdell has tons of expansions and all these things you can add to it, and that might be the good route to go. For me, I think this is a better game, and I can't imagine them not expanding this one too. Of course, it's probably going to be, in a year, maybe 2. But for me, this is the better game. Now, if you have Everdell and all the expansions, maybe I haven't played with every single expansion altogether in Everdell. I think I've only played with one of them. If you have Everdell with all expansions, do you need this? It's very similar. But if you're such a fan and you just want more stuff that's like Everdell, I mean, you're probably going to get this anyway. Do you really need both? I don't know. For me, probably not. I think this is the one to get if you already have it. If you love Everdell, this is going to be similar, but better in my opinion. That's what I think about Everdell Farshore. Game Toppers not only transforms your existing table into a high-quality gaming solution, but they now offer full leg kits and dining cover solutions for the full table application. Paired with over 20 styles of thematic game mats in 11 different sizes from notable board game artists like Vincent Dutray, collapsible cup holders, and real cool accessories, experience what thousands of other gamers enjoy by upgrading every game you play with a Game Topper system. Save hundreds of dollars on Game Topper package deals that are in stock now for immediate shipping at GameToppersLLC.com or click the link below.